Hi everyone, welcome to the Scrapbooking Photographer. Linda is my name, and today I am here to take part in two hops. The first one is Stamp It Like It's Hot, where we are encouraged to use a different medium with our stamps each month, and this month it is to use anything but ink. And the other hop that I'm joining in on is the Paper Crafting YouTubers monthly hop, and this month the topic is family time. So the medium that I've decided to use that isn't ink is going to be glue. I don't know if that qualifies or not, but I'm going to use glue to stamp with and use some embossing to decorate some pages around my image for family time. I'm also using today's video as an opportunity to break into my Silver Bells card making set. Now I'm not going to be making cards with it today, but what you do get in the pack is this instruction sheet of 4 different cards that you can make out of what's within the pack. So we'll just put that to one side with the cards because I'm obviously not going to be using them either, but you do get quite a supply in a set. So it's really handy to have, and there's even some bling. The stamp set that comes with that set is the grey things that you see here are the stamps, and then we've got some die cuts that we can use in the Cuttlebug, which are the coloured pieces in there. So plain cardstock that comes with the pack, we've got white daisy, charcoal, mink, toffee and rosemary. So we might use some of those. We'll pop them to one side. And then we have these papers, which I think are just gorgeous. So up the top of here, you'll see it's called Silver Bells Bulk. So it's different on the back to what you would get in the paper pack. So I think these two go really nice together. So I'm going to use those as 2 of my bits for the layout today. My image today is one that was taken in 2011 on Christmas Day with my mother and my 2 brothers and myself. We all lived in different parts of the country, so it wasn't very often that we all got together. So this was a special Christmas. We'd already lost my dad a few years earlier, so there was just the 4 of us with our immediate families with us as well. So it was quite a big group, but this photo is pretty special to reflect on with just the 4 of us. Since then, we've lost my mum and one of my brothers, so it's a pretty special photo to document. Now I've had it printed as a 5x7, and these bits on the side I'm going to trim off to make it square. The place I get my photos developed doesn't do square photos anymore, so I need to kind of adapt them and then trim them, but that's no drama. And I think it goes really nicely with these colours here. Now as a layout, I'm actually going back to a formula that came out about this time last year from Freaky Fast Fridays. And this came out on the Craft IQ Facebook page, and it has 4 different pieces of paper, different sizes that you cut out and then play with to make them fit. So I'm going to prepare those 4 pieces of paper. We've got one that's 2.25 by 10.5, one that's 2 inches by 11, a 6.5 by 10.5 and a 6 by 8. So I'll go and prepare those in 4 different colours, and then we'll come back and see what happens next. So now I've got my 4 pieces of paper all cut out, ready to go. And I've gone with charcoal and toffee, and then the 2 pieces of patterned paper. So I'll take the strips off the sides of the photo, making that more square. And then it's a matter of trying to figure out how I'm going to make these 4 pieces of paper work. Now the thing I like about the Freaky Fast Friday formulas is that you've got the pieces of paper and there's any number of ways that it can all come together. And I'll come back to it later and try some more, because I will have some stamped things to put in there as well. So while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take this photo and just go around the outside of it with my intense black ink. Now that just will take the white edge off that and just sort of blend it in a little bit more and give it a kind of a little frame without actually mounting it. And I think that will just help define it from whatever background it ends up against. So here I am trying a few more, and I really like the square look around the outside of the photo and a little bit plainer. So before I do anything, I'm going to take 1/2 inch off the white daisy on 2 sides so that it will eventually be framed by toffee. So for my stamping part, I'm using this stamp from the current catalogue with Close to My Heart called Warmest Greetings Card Front. So I've put it on the biggest block that I have, and rather than stamp it down onto the stamp pad, I've used the smaller stamp pad to go over the top of the block and the stamp. So I'm doing 3 sections of this, but because of the nature of the glue, I don't want it to dry off before I add the embossing powder. So I'm doing 1 section at a time and then sprinkling the embossing powder over and then shaking it off onto the scrap paper underneath. But then it gets a bit too heavy onto the scrap paper and I'm scared it's going to get everywhere, so I empty it back into the little pottle before doing the last section. So I think these are going to just give me some little cards so that I can play with them on that layout and put them in different places and add a little bit of a Christmas effect. Really important then when it's finished to get the glue wiped off the stamps before you put it away, and then it's time to get the heat gun out and just watch the magic happen. I absolutely love doing this part of embossing and watching all the dark powder that we've sprinkled over it turn into this beautiful metallic gold colour. So I can skip the next bit and show you the finished product. So I end up with these 3 cards. Aren't they gorgeous? So before I do anything with them, I'm going to bring the piece of white daisy back on top of the toffee and play yet again with the photo and the papers. Now I've actually turned those 2 pattern pieces up the other way, which somehow helps it all fall into place so much easier. And then I can use 2 of my stamped pieces either side of the photo and a 3rd down the bottom. I'll cover the join down the bottom with the word family, and I'm doing that in the Havana alphabet. And I've used the anti-static pouch on the cardstock first for this because I don't want any stray bits of gold embossing to go anywhere else, just where I've put the glue. So that will be on the word family, and I've used this spare piece of charcoal paper so that I can then cut it down to size and dovetail the ends of it. But before I cut it down, I'll show you a little bit more magic as I bring the heat pump out and watch this word family go from the darker coloured powder to the hey presto, nice metallic gold. Fabulous, eh? So here we are. I'm just making sure that there's 1 inch either side of the word so that I've got room to cut down the middle using the grid to measure where I come into and then go from the corners into the centre, so I get some reasonably even nice dovetails, and that will fit nicely down on the bottom of the page when I bring it all back together. So before I put it all together though, I want to add a little bit of gold around the edges of these bits that I stamped with the glue. So this is the Spectrum Noir wide gold metallic pen, and you can actually use it a little bit like a paintbrush, and it just adds a really nice fine gold border that is exactly the same look as the embossing powder, so they go really well together. So I'll go around all of the bits, and also before I adhere anything I want to go around everything else with the black ink, and that will just match in with what I did to the photo and also help to define each sort of piece of paper from the background. However, when I come to do the dovetail, of course the stamp pad won't fit into the inverted angle there, so I need to use the sponge to get in that close. So now everything is almost ready to stick, except I then realised that I haven't gone around the outside of the toffee piece. So quickly finish that off with the sponge that was still sitting on my desk, and then everything is ready to stick down. So while I'm sticking it down, I will just remind you that this is part of 2 hops. So there's 1 hop for the paper crafting YouTubers, which the topic is family time. and you can watch all of those by following the link in the description below and get some inspiration and ideas from the other creators. And likewise with the Stamping While It's Stamping Like It's Hot hop, which is all about stamping with something other than ink this month. So there'll be all sorts of inspiration and different ideas on that one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other people come up with. The other interesting thing to note from this layout that I've done is that we have used a card making kit to put this together for a scrapbook layout, and we have also used a stamp that was designed for a card front to make some embellishments really to add into the layout. So when you're looking through catalogues and looking at products, it pays to keep an open mind about everything and just look at different ways that you can use them for the projects that suit you. So this is just about stuck down now, and it's time to do a little bit of journaling. So I'm going to use some journaling strips and just place 3 underneath the photo initially, and I'll taper them down so that the top one is as long as the photo, and then we'll go smaller and then shorter at the bottom. So I just think 3 looks quite good there, and that will just be a little story about how we don't get together very often. But there are some facts that need to be included, so I'm using the pennant alphabet to put the year on a piece of charcoal cardstock, which will go at the top of the page. And I'll emboss it just like I have with the others. So using the numbers 2011, of course I need 2 ones, so I'm going to do 201 first. So wiping the cardstock with the anti-static pouch, and this time I can stamp down onto the glue and then transfer it onto the cardstock. And then I'll just grab the 1 and put it on the other side of the block so that I can quickly add it to that number before things dry out and get patchy. So then again, I can shake it off. I just love this process so much. I'm going to show it to you again. Get rid of that extra powder. Now it's important to do that because if you use the heat gun while that's all around, you can end up with bits of dried stuff on waste paper, which is just a waste of powder. So there we go, there's the magic turning into gold, and I'll cut that down and do some dovetails with that also to fit up to the top of the page. And again, I need to go around it with the black ink, so I'll use the sponge again on this one because of those tiny little angles, and just try and squeeze it into the middle there to get a little bit of colour transferred, and then I can pop it up on the top. So the other facts that need to be in here, of course, are who the people are. So I quite like the idea of using journaling strips for that too. And I'm going to just write our names and then left to right on 5 different pieces of journaling strips, and place them underneath the photo and above family. But I'm going to put them in a way so that they kind of correspond with the people in the photo. This page is going to go in my album of me, so I think it's really important that there is a reference to who people are. To finish the page off, I've got some gold glitter gems, and I'll just place them at either end of the dovetails, and also 2 little groups of 3 on the bottom corners of the charcoal cardstock. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video today, and I hope it's had some useful tips that you can perhaps incorporate into your layouts, and I'd love to see it if you do, so feel free to share any comments. Thank you to all of you who have already subscribed to my channel. If you haven't yet, perhaps I've done enough today for you to push that subscribe button and join me on this creative journey with my scrapbooking and sharing of tips and tricks. Wishing you all a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you manage to get some crafting time yourself. Enjoy!